This is Voltron Nevera, located at Germany's Europa Park. Being manufactured by Mack, this is a new for 2024 striker coaster, the first of its kind actually. It reaches a top speed of 100 kilometers per hour, reaches a height of 32.5 meters, and has a track length of 1,385 meters. Okay, but first of all, what even is a striker coaster? In short, the Striker is Mack's newest coaster model that is basically just an upgraded version of their Big Dipper coaster. A difference between the Striker and the Big Dipper is that the Striker trains have cross-bracing for their outside wing seats, so the experience there isn't as bumpy. According to Mack, these Striker trains are built with optimized attributes for unmatched agility, and Voltron clearly demonstrates this with its tight, snappy elements. With that out of the way, let's get into my review of Voltron and why I think it is one of, if not the best roller coaster in the world. Your experience with Voltron starts by walking under the ride's epic entrance logo. This is also where you'll get to pick which line you hop in, single rider, virtual line, or just general entry. That's not all though, as above you is the ride's record-breaking beyond vertical launch and a Tesla tower. From here, you enter the outdoor section of this queue. You have some nice theming elements, such as the turbines and the water loop thingy, I don't know what it's actually called. Basically, water is blasted all around you in a vertical loop. What I find most impressive about this part of the queue though, is the views you get of the coaster. You walk through this little room with a chalkboard, and that's when you enter the second part of this queue. There's a detailed animatronic of Nikola Tesla himself, as well as a plug that activates when a train is about to launch. On one side of the building, you can see a train approaching the launch track and getting turned into electricity. Then on the other side of the building, you see a train reappearing from electricity, which means Tesla's experiment worked. What I find most impressive about this queue though, are the Tesla coils on the roof of the building that play Voltron's theme song. After waiting for a bit, a ride attendant will give you a card which allows you to unlock and lock a double-sided locker. You will be required to put all your loose articles in this locker. Oh, and make sure to remember which locker you put your belongings in, otherwise you're going to look like a fool tapping every single locker trying to find yours. After storing all your belongings in the locker, you walk up a staircase and enter the ride's continuously loading station, where a new train is dispatched every 36 seconds. Once you have taken the seat, do not touch your restraints. A ride operator will lower those for you by tapping the back of a seat with an RFID tag. Now, all you need to do is sit back, relax, and wait for your train to dispatch. Your ride on Voltron starts by rolling through a dark ride section. This section is illuminated by blue, and you will see another animatronic of Nikola Tesla, as well as another Tesla coil and even more electricity. You then begin to speed up as you approach the first launch. However, before you take off into the layout, there's a special effect that I believe is only found on Voltron. Electricity is blasting all around you as you lift up, start vibrating, and then bounce up and down. After the track pieces reconnect, the train is sent hurtling forward with power rarely seen on a Mack launch. You then go upside down for a moment before getting pressed back into your seat and then getting absolutely thrown by this downwards corkscrew. This element is extremely whippy, especially on the wing seats, because it's got such a tight twist to it. With absolutely no time to breathe, riders are lifted airborne by this tiny bunny hill before rising up into an Immelman. This inversion manages to give you some float on the descent before aggressively slamming you up into another Immelman, this time ejecting you on the descent with a much more violent twist. The train fluidly boosts through a rolling launch before getting sent up into a stall. Now, what I find most fascinating about this launch isn't its power, because it's really not powerful, but the fact that it allows for another block section to be added. For more information, just watch El Toro Ryan's video on Voltron. The train whips into a stall, giving riders copious amounts of hang time before aggressively snapping them back upright. Voltron then hauls ass over this next hill, absolutely sending riders to the moon. Like, just look at the way this tiny train absolutely sends it over this hill. After this, the train executes a twisted hill which throws riders to the side before rapidly flipping them upside down into a dive loop. Like so many other elements on this coaster, this dive loop is also incredibly whippy, especially in the front row right wing seat. To finish off the first half of Voltron, riders slam to a near stop on the brake run. This abrupt deceleration creates some very powerful negative longitudinal g-forces. Congratulations, you have just been teleported by the Voltron, but before we embark on our return journey, let's quickly go over this first half. As I said earlier, these striker trains were designed with agility in mind, and the first half of Voltron demonstrates this with its tight, snappy inversions as well as the close proximity of the elements. Because these elements are also closely packed together, this means that riders are given no chance to breathe at all. When combined with the powerful forces, the first half of Voltron is surely one heck of a way to introduce a new model. The intense, rapid-fire nature of this section continues on for the rest of Voltron, which I absolutely love. On that note, let's begin our return journey. Now we reach the turntable, which is the one part of Voltron that I think could have been done better. For me, it didn't detract from the ride, as I think riders need a break between the first and second halves. The problem for me though, is the fact that this turntable isn't the most well themed. Again, I didn't mind this turntable, but I would love to see some theming elements explaining why we stopped for the GP. After the tracks all lock into place, the train rapidly accelerates backwards. Just like the first launch, this backwards launch is extremely punchy, but instead of pushing riders back into their seats, this one violently flings riders forwards. After getting some float on the spike, riders forcefully accelerate forwards. The top hat afterwards is best experienced in the front. This is because the front offers airtime and surprisingly laterals, whereas the back only offers a tiny pop-off ejector on the way down. After a quick turn, riders get sustained and extremely forceful ejector from this large camelback. Next up is my favourite element on Voltron, this absolutely demented outer bank. This element absolutely slaps riders with a straight up violent punch of extreme ejector and laterals. Just watch these riders getting forcefully flung to the side. Next up is this wicked double up, which offers two brutal ejector pops in the front and one brutal ejector pop plus a more like floater pop towards the back. The section from the third launch to the mid-course brake run is my favourite sequence on Voltron. This is because it focuses on my favourite force, ejector airtime. Every single hill in this section sends you flying up out of your seat. I also didn't think that this part of the ride was repetitive, unlike some people. First of all, even if it was repetitive, I wouldn't really mind because I love ejector airtime. Secondly, I thought each airtime moment in this sequence felt different to the last. Some are floaty, some are sustained, some are violent, and some even have laterals mixed in with them. And as a cherry on top, the launches are punchy. Now we get to the final stretch, which is focused on speed. After coasting through the mid-course, riders get wildly lifted by this tiny dip. The train then whips through a corkscrew before slamming to the most positive heavy moment on the ride. This turn bombards riders with a high dose of sustained positive Gs, and because it also stays very low to the ground, riders get an amazing sense of speed. The train briskly ascends into an overbank before whipping through one final corkscrew. Voltron finishes off by ejecting riders one last time before absolutely slamming them to a near stop. And there we go, that's what a ride on Voltron Nevera looks like. Your train will slowly roll back into the station where the restraints release themselves. After this, exit to the right, walk down the stairs, grab your belongings, and exit the attraction. The best way I would describe Voltron is rapid fire, though I guess aggressive does the job as well. As I've said earlier, all these elements are very close together. This means that the coaster sections on Voltron are non-stop and exciting the whole way through. The only time you really get a break is on the turntable. The forces on Voltron are also no joke, particularly the airtime, which on multiple occasions manages to absolutely smash your thighs up into the lap bar. Due to the tight spacing of these powerful elements, some riders actually find Voltron too intense, which I can certainly understand. This beast of a ride should not be taken lightly at all. However, I'm fine with the abruptness of these forces due to how comfortable these trains are to ride. These striker trains have both similarities and advantages to the Big Dipper trains they were based off. These trains have 4-cross seating, just like on the Big Dippers. Additionally, just like on the Big Dipper, the outermost seats are floorless. They're also slightly elevated when compared with the inner seats. As for which seat you want to aim to be in, I don't really have a preference in terms of rows, just make sure you get on a wing seat. Since they're further out from the center of the train, the lateral forces there will hit stronger than they will in the inner seats. And since the wing seats are floorless and less enclosed, riders will feel more exposed in those seats. Like I said, I don't really have a preference for which row because this train is only 4 rows long, so all the forces hit just about the same in all rows. If I had to pick a row, I would probably go for the front because you get the best view there. Basically what I'm saying is, if you want the most intense and snappy experience, aim for a wing seat. However, if you're looking for comfort, the wing seats might not be for you. This is because, due to the fact that these wing seats have less support than the inner seats, the experience there will naturally be shakier. Now, Voltron has been absolutely blasted for its shakiness before.
Why did I go on the edge seat? Oh, Coaster Studio says it wasn't rough, wee, but it is so rough. Oh, this ride is so overrated. Oh, ow, mamma mia, the pain. It's so rattly right here. Oh, mamma mia. Thank goodness it is over.
Told ya. Now, what are my thoughts on this subject? Personally, I didn't think this rattle was as bad as some people made it out to be. I'm not just going to sit here and pretend that Voltron is butter smooth on the wing seats, because it isn't. You can certainly feel a rattle. However, I found that rattle to be perfectly tolerable. And for me, personally, I know this is going to be a very hot take, but I actually like the rattle.
What? What the fuck?
Okay, just hear me out for one moment. I found that this rattle added to the feral what the f*** feeling of Voltron. Again, I cannot stress enough that this is just a personal and very uncommon opinion, but I genuinely enjoy the rattle in the wing seats and think that people are overstating just how bad it is. As for the middle seats, those are perfectly smooth every time I rode them. Not that I rode them that much because I was nearly always on the wing seat having the time of my life. Now, before I give a final rating, let's quickly summarize this video by going through my pros and cons of Voltron. For me, there's only one con on Voltron, the relative lack of theming during the turntable. And while this is a pro for me, I know this is a con for many others, so I'm going to include it as well, the rattle. Alright, now the good stuff. The theming, the operations, the comfort of the seating restraints, the sleekness of the trains, the punchy launches, the punchy positives, the punchy airtime, and the punchy laterals. Oh, and we can't forget about the hang time as well. Oh, and there's even more. The pacing, the absurd length, the rapidity of these powerful elements, the insane intensity, and overall just how much of a well-rounded coaster Voltron is. I could go on for days about how good Voltron is because this thing is literally my dream coaster. As Tanner Tucker from Coaster Studios said, it literally does everything. Now, it's time to give Voltron Nevera a final score, and based on all of the praise I've been giving this coaster throughout this video, I think it should be blatantly obvious why I rate it. For me, Voltron is a 10 out of 10 coaster. Voltron has everything I like about a coaster. In my opinion, it's basically perfect. It's got great theming, great operations, great trains, and it's very intense. Plus it has that rattle, which for me makes Voltron feel even more on edge. Beyond that, Voltron is also just a technical marvel, from the singing Tesla coils, to the vibrating and bounce track, to the swing launch block, to the fact that both sides of the turntable are capable of launching a train. Voltron is also just mesmerizing to watch with so many trains whizzing around at once. In my eyes, Voltron is simply a masterpiece. It is no doubt one of the finest coasters ever created and my favourite coaster ever. Before riding, I was a bit skeptical about how good Voltron really would be, but oh boy, I was proven wrong. Voltron is simply brilliant, and it deserves every single bit of hype it gets.